as I was saying, Joy Taylor, every dog has its day. And since I'm a big dog, I've got 2 days. Okay. So now.
You just called yourself a dog?
Yeah, I'm a dog. Yeah, I'm a big dog, a big one.
Kevin Durant is 6'11", who can pull up from 40. Okay. This brother is on that level. I'm talking about offensively.
Do you think you're better than Darrelle Revis is right now?
I'm better than you.
3, 2, 1. And we're live in the phone lines, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Mark Brown. Welcome back to another Lowdown episode. I have a special guest on this show. Now, I've had him on in the past. It was almost a year ago. It was back in June. We were covering the NBA Finals when the Warriors were playing the Raptors. And that was back in June 2019 when things were normal, right? And here we are in May, or May the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars Day, apparently. May 4th, 2020. I got him back on. His name is Sean Anchondo, student at Texas State University, works for the University Star, now works for ESPN Plus. He did all that stuff. He's all over the place at Texas State. I just want to say, Sean, welcome back, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's good to be back. It's kind of weird. The last time I was on your show. I don't remember which game it was, but I remember how I just got really drunk that day, and you're like, hey, you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. I have takes. But this time I'm on my patio. I'm in the middle of finals, so no drunk Sean today.
You know what? I didn't even know you were drunk today. It didn't even sound like it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was drinking and I was like, I mean, when I watch basketball games like finals, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drink. I'm off tonight. Why not? But this whole thing. You know what's weird with this whole pandemic thing? I don't even drink as much. I got bored of it. I was doing it every day, and now I'm like, I don't need to. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, like this has altered so many people's lives, man. It's just completely different now. It's like, oh, am I really at my actual age, or am I 30 years older? Because, I mean, that's the way I feel. I feel 30 years older now.
Yeah, I mean, we're stuck at home all day. It's like we're getting cabin fever. Like, how are you kind of dealing with it?
Well, I mean, since I work for a TV news station, I mean, I'm constantly working. I mean, I'm still, like, at the same time, it's pretty dull because we have to cover coronavirus just about every day. But, I mean, not on a national perspective, like, every now and then, but, like, since it's a local TV station, we're only covering, like, the coronavirus in that area. So it's my duty to go out and get, stories on how COVID-19 has affected this business or this place or that, like, stuff like, I've been doing that for the past, 6 weeks in a row now. Yeah, something like that, yeah.
That must be pretty miserable that there's only one story happening.
Yeah, I know, because, like...
It's like, at first, yeah, well, I mean, at first, you were like, when you saw it, like, I was following it like crazy. It'd be like on Twitter, it's like it's still the number one trending thing. I was like, all right, how many people have died? How many cases? Like it was sick. I was looking at that every day. It was making me depressed. I'm like, that's why I stopped going on Twitter as much. I would just put my phone in the other room, let it charge, and just hang out with the baby and just hang out around the house and try to get out. I mean, walk around the block. That's about it, right?
Oh no, man, that's all we can do. I mean, you got to get your mind distracted somehow. You got to thank God for The Last Dance, and then obviously, like, the NFL news that's been trending, because the NFL hasn't really been affected by COVID-19 as of now. The only thing that has affected the NFL is the fact that they're not having any international games this upcoming season, but they still plan on starting on time. They have not changed anything, so I'm going to keep my hopes up, because hopefully the NFL does take place, because if they're reopening businesses here and there, like in different states all over the country, if they're reopening plenty of businesses now, who knows? Like, this might be a terrible take, because there's people saying that, there could be a second wave coming. So, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. I don't want to cause any commotion. So like, let's just take it one day at a time. But the reason why I have you on the show, I forgot to bring this up, is you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. I mean, and speaking of the Cowboys, I mean, I just wanted to get your perspective of how you felt about the draft, about, especially new coach. You don't have to worry about Jason Garrett anymore. You got Mike McCarthy. You guys re-signed Amari Cooper, and you signed Andy Dalton recently. You signed Gerald McCoy not too long ago. And then for the draft picks, you got CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs, Reggie Robinson, and a few others. So I feel like the Dallas Cowboys offseason is looking pretty good. What do you think?
So this is my whole take on it. And to go back to the whole COVID-19, I even joked about it, because I was saying the draft was going so well that our governor, Greg Abbott, was like, hey, we should probably open up our states soon. We got to get some football going on. Like, that's how good our draft was. Like, I'm like, we had CeeDee Lamb fall to us at 17. And then, of course, Trayvon Diggs. It was a guy that I was just thinking we can get that I didn't think he was going to be there still. And, like, I think the biggest steal of this whole draft was when they got Bradley and Nye. They got him at in the 5th round at 179. That guy had a second round grade on him, and they're saying he's the biggest steal of the draft. Like he was drafted, I think, over 100 spots of where he was supposed to be. He was a top 100 guy, and he went at 179. And some people were projecting him to be a late second round guy. So like that, it's just crazy that every player that they got was a form of a steal. And then they got that center from Wisconsin, Tyler. I can't even say his name. It looks like Badass, but it's like Biadasz. I don't know how to say his name, but it's probably Badass. And then the Eagles traded with us, and we had center needs, and then they traded with us. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe this happening.
Yeah, your arch nemesis was willing to trade with you guys. And I was also going to ask you, now, the Dak Prescott situation, because obviously they placed a franchise tag on him not too long ago. They signed Andy Dalton just very recently. They signed him 2 days ago. So when you see this, what do you think? How do you think Dak's going to benefit from this? Because now it's like they can provide more leverage. I mean, obviously Andy Dalton is set to be the backup QB. I mean, Dak is the go-to guy. He's been – I mean, think about it. You place a franchise tag on him. He's been the go-to guy since he was a rookie. So where do you think this will place Dak? You think this will push Dak to – make less mistakes because he receives a lot of, backlash about how he's not really consistent and here and there. So what do you think this will happen with Dak's situation?
I don't want to sound like the most positive Cowboys fan because I'm not. I'm trashing them all the time, but based on this draft, I've been kind of changing my tune on them. Everything is just rainbows, puppy dogs, all that kind of stuff. It's all good. And the thing about Dak, no one gets more like scrutiny than Dak does. It's crazy. Like they treat him like he sucks. He doesn't. He's one of the highest rated quarterbacks in the NFL. He's going to get paid. I mean, they have $33 million on the table for him right now. Andy Dalton's not going to take his spot. Like what I took out of that is he's getting paid. I think it's Andy Dalton's his contract is $3 million guaranteed. That's peanuts. That guy was making like 18 mil just a year ago, and he was just like, I don't even want the starting job. Just make me a backup so I can move back to Texas. So like you have a proven quarterback at Andy Dalton, and I don't understand the hate on Dak. Dak's gonna get paid. He's going to be the starter, and it's just a matter of time. I mean, another thing people weren't talking about, Dak Prescott's brother just died. Maybe that might have to do with him not signing it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I think that has to be something, right?
Yeah, it really has to be. And then you're right about Dak not being trash, because if he was trash, he wouldn't be the 4th ranked in total QBR this past season. He was the 4th ranked behind Drew Brees, Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. Those were only quarterbacks ahead of him with QBR. So it's like, yeah. So he's definitely producing. It's just the Cowboys just had a bad season. I mean, as simple as that. And to see that, the Cowboys could be completely different this year. I don't want to get my hopes up completely because, Cowboys fans and insiders have been saying that every season. But there's been times where the Cowboys did emerge. Like in 2014, they had a good season, and then until that play that Dez Bryant apparently caught the ball that released a lot of. Even to this day, there's controversy with that. Even 5 years later. And the Cowboys they did pretty well whenever Dak and Zeke were rookies. So there's been times where the Cowboys have actually produced. They produced in the 2018 season. They made it to the playoffs and then fell short to the Rams. But it's like, there's times where they're on and off. And then this past season was just ridiculous. I didn't see that coming. There were games that they should have won, for example, against the Jets. They should have beat them, and then they should have. They embarrassed themselves against the Bills on Thanksgiving. There was a lot of games they embarrassed themselves. So it's like, every season is different. But like, what do you think? Where do you think the Cowboys could, go from that point? You can't get worse than 8-8. There's no way these guys can get worse than 8-8 after what you saw in the offseason.
This is the thing. The team's talented. You can't deny that. The Cowboys. Just look, and to go back to the draft, like you get all these really good players. It's not by accident. Will McClay, he's the player personnel guy. He's kind of like the GM of the team, not named Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones would never relinquish that spot. So the team's talented. The issue has always been Garrett and his coaching style. It doesn't work. He wants to get the RKG guys, the right kind of guys. He just wants good guys, but like sometimes you need a bunch of maniacs on your team, especially on defense. You need some of those guys. I don't want to cuss. I don't know if I can cuss in your podcast or not.
Oh no,
but,
I mean that's up to you. I mean I'm not cursing, but that's I mean hey man,
okay.
It's free country.
you need some assholes on your team. Is what, like, when the Cowboys were really good, their defense was full of assholes. Just look at Charles Haley. Charles Haley was the biggest asshole in the NFL, but he was the reason why they won some of those Super Bowls. He was that free agency acquisition that really set them over the top. And I mean, the players loved him, but the other teams hated him. He's like, when he played for the Niners, like Joe Montana, he took a piss inside of his car. Charles Haley did, and they that's why they cut him. They're like, you got to get out of here. But the Cowboys like, yeah, we'll take him. Screw it. And like, I mean, that's what you kind of need. And like this Cowboys team has a bunch of like nice guys, the right kind of guys. And it's not just that, like the scheme didn't work. Rod Marinelli, their the previous defensive coordinator, he would like influence their drafts. So like when they drafted Taco Charlton a couple years ago, a guy that no one thought would go in that spot, and like Will McClay they say he didn't want him, but Rod Marinelli would stand on the table, was like, I want that guy, or like who they drafted last year is just like what's his name, Tristan Hill from they got him from Central Florida, and he didn't even start. It's just like you're drafting these guys that you don't need, and you have coaches that were influencing it, like Rod Marinelli, and all those guys are gone, and then all of a sudden you have this great draft, and it's now you bring in McCarthy, who he's a Super Bowl winner, and he has a good scheme. He was out for a year because sometimes you just got to take a break. So he's out. He's going to come in. They're going to get better. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl team, but they're going to be better. I don't see them being worse than an 8-8 team. They don't have to play a first place schedule again. They're playing a second place schedule, so like it's going to work out for them. I mean, I would have them like maybe in the top 3 of the NFC. Like who's really that much better than Dallas right now?
Yeah, I mean, like the only teams they'll probably rank in front of them. You know how they are with Brady, so they're going to rank. They're going to probably place Tampa Bay up there somewhere. They'll place the Saints up there. I mean, just ridiculous, right? They'll place the Saints in front of them.
Hold on? Can we stop this whole thing about Tampa Bay? It's going to be all. They're going to just be great now that they got an old Tom Brady and an old Rob Gronkowski. That's stupid.
That is stupid.
Come on.
I mean, think about it. That's equivalent to. It's pretty similar to what happened last year during the offseason. They're like, oh, the Browns just picked up OBJ, and now they have him and Jarvis and Baker. Oh, it's going to be a nasty roster. We also have Nick Chubb. It's over, and Kareem Hunt. I mean, it was the same thing. They were saying, like, look what happened to the Browns, right? They had a losing record.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so Tom Brady is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's one of the greats of all time, but he was trash last year. And that's he had Bill Belichick. He had probably the greatest coach of all time. And Bill Belichick, it didn't look like he was like really sticking his neck out there to keep Tom Brady. He was I think he kind of sees it. He's like, this guy's not the same guy. I mean, of course he's going to, I mean, the Bucs will still be a decent team, but to put them as the best team in the NFC, like, let's calm down a little bit. That's a tough division. He's not playing the Bills and the Jets every year anymore. He's playing the Saints and a better Falcons team. And then Carolina's going to be. I mean, they're not awful. I mean, they don't have Cam Newton anymore. I don't know who that team is, but their defense is really good. They got a bunch of skill players. They got McCaffrey over there. Like,
yeah, there you go.
I don't think it. Yeah, they're not dominating anybody. That's ridiculous to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Because like they already have ESPN already issued out like early, like they already have a power rankings chart plus every draft winner for every team. So according to NFL Nation, they have obviously they're gonna have the Chiefs at number 1 because they're Super Bowl champions, So the reigning Super Bowl champs, they have them at number 1. They got Baltimore at number 2, San Francisco at number 3, New Orleans at number 4, Seattle at number 5, Green Bay at number 6. Wow. Tampa Bay at number 7. That's another wow. Tennessee at number 8, which is reasonable. Minnesota at 9. Okay. And Dallas at 10. So they have 9 teams in front of Dallas right now.
Dang, they got them out. They got them at 10, so they're gonna be worse than they were last year. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
they have Tampa over them. I don't think the Packers are gonna be any good. They had a bad draft. But like, let me preface this, because if anyone listens and they're like, "Oh, I'm putting too much into the draft," you're right. The draft, it could be anything. All those guys can be busts. You never know. But the Packers drafted a backup quarterback, which I don't think was a bad move. But then you got then you drafted that running back, Dylan, and like you already have a really good young running back in Aaron Jones, and then you have the strongest wide receiver draft maybe ever, or maybe the top wide receiver draft in probably like 2 decades, and you don't get one. That was crazy to me. I couldn't believe it. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, what are we doing here? Why are you forcing me to be on this team? I don't want to be here, because you guys, when McCarthy was here, you guys didn't put weapons around me, and I thought it was just him. And then you bring in what's their coach name? I can't think of his name right now. But you bring him in, and they still didn't bring any. They still didn't put any weapons around him. They put a backup running back, and then who else? Like some defensive players. Like, oh, that's. I would be livid if I was Aaron Rodgers. But yeah.
That's another thing. Like, I'm surprised. I'm still surprised. See, that's another thing. I am surprised that they have them in the top 10. Honestly, I would think they would be like maybe between 15 through 20, not in the top 10. That's
They were just in the NFC Championship game. I could see it. I wouldn't be upset if they're ranked against a few spots ahead of Dallas. Like, I mean, that's not bad. I just think putting Dallas at 10 was just like. This is how the media covers the Cowboys.
And wait, you were asking, sorry to interrupt, but you were asking about the coach, right? That was Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur, there you go.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about the media, the sports media, is they either overrate the Cowboys or they just trash them. Like, there's no in the middle. So, like, it's hard to gauge what the real feel on Dallas is unless you follow, like, the actual people that cover them. The Mike Fishers and all the 105.3 The Fan guys and all. Don't listen to Skip Bayless. Everything he says is stupid. Just listen to how he talks about Michael Jordan. Like, everything's unreasonable with him. Like, I can't even watch The Last Dance without everyone's stupid takes. Like, did you see how Jordan talked in front of the media? That's way better than LeBron. Like, you guys are out of your mind. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Can we just
whenever they're bringing up commentary about that, about how they address the media, that's stupid. That shouldn't even be in consideration.
Yeah, I don't mean to change the subject. It was just I go into multiple rants at a time. I'm multitasking, but yeah.
Oh, that's all good. I do the same thing. But yeah. What does that have to do with basketball anyway? Like, what what does that have to do with basketball and how they address the media? Come on now.
Can we just like both of them? I think they're both the greatest of all time. I say 1A, 1B.
Yeah, I got to put Kobe in that mix too. I put all three of those guys together.
I put Kobe. I don't think Kobe's the best Laker of all time. He was just. I think Magic is the greatest ever. But I mean, we're talking about Cowboys. Yeah, Kareem. It's Kobe is obviously one of the greats ever, and he globalized the game. This is what it is with the players. It's eras. Jordan entered the NBA to be a globalized sport. Kobe was the face of the globalized sport, and then LeBron is the effect of what all those guys did for the game. That's why if you watch the Last Dance from last night when they're talking about Tony Kukoc, there wasn't a lot of good European players, and when they played in that first Olympics game, I mean against the Dream Team, he got destroyed. In the second game he came back, but just think about how much better the European players are. Like look at how good Luka is. Imagine putting Luka like in the NBA back then. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd be like, this guy is ridiculous.
Yeah, speaking of that, because Luka was schooling LeBron this past season before the season shut down.
Luka is ridiculous. I watch him and I can't believe how good he is. Watching him when LeBron first came in the league, when I was like, I can't believe how good LeBron is. That's the same feeling I have about Luka.
I mean, I can't even disagree with that, man. Luka has really shown what he's made of early in his career. I mean, both him and Trae Young have been just putting out some crazy numbers left and right. Trae Young is also in that mix too. I put Luka and Trae Young. It's pretty close between them two.
I don't know, man. I think I have Luka. I think Luka's a better all-around player right now. I think Trae Young is great. He's a great shooter.
The difference is, see, you look at Trae Young though. You look at the system he's in. You look at the Hawks, right? He doesn't really have that much talent with him. Luka got Kristaps with him. He's part of a better system than the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawks are not a playoff team at all.
No, they were the worst team.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
And Dallas is very well coached. Even though if you listen to every Mavericks fan, because I'm not. I like the Mavericks, but they're not like how I'm not. I don't watch them like how I watch the Cowboys. How I watch the NBA is I like players. So I can't just stick to one team, even though I do root for the Mavs. They're not. I'm not an emotional Mavs fan. With that said, they're very well coached, and like some of their fans will they don't like how they're coached, and like they think they shoot too many threes, and just like they're still getting used to playing around each other. Porzingis was up for the whole year, and like him and Luka were finally getting it together. It's so disappointing that there's no playoffs right now, and I don't know if there's going to be a season. And if there's not, it's so disappointing for people that follow the Mavs, fans of them, because I think they're 1 year and another player away from really competing. I don't think they'd win a championship. I just don't think they can beat that LeBron team. That team is just. They're gonna win it all. I know I'm being kind of I am an emotional LeBron fan. I'll put that out there.
The thing is, like, I think the team that really would have given them a hard time though was the Clippers. Like, I think the Clippers could have really possibly upset them.
Kind of. I was thinking that for a while, and then like there's just something about not playing every game that I have a problem with Kawhi, where he was taking when you think about it, like him taking plays off to get ready for the playoffs was kind of pointless when you think about it. But yeah, him taking those games off, and like sometimes they wouldn't play as cohesive as you'd want them to. They were deeper. I just don't think they could beat LeBron and AD and like all those guys in a 7-game series. It would have been it probably would have been one of the great Western Finals. But I don't know. I don't think they had a guy that would stop. How do you stop LeBron for 7 games? I don't see it. Because I think it would go 7 games, but I can't see it. The team is so loaded.
Plus, like, everybody had to be, and plus, like, they all have to be healthy too, because you already know how it is with like how AD was missing a few games, and you saw how Paul George wasn't 100%. So it's like it would have been honestly, yeah. I really think it would have been a 7-game series, and it sucks talking about this because we won't know. I wish we could see it.
I know, and then PG-13, man, that guy he disappears in the playoffs. Like
you know what? I've seen it when he played for Oklahoma City. I was really upset with that. Like, for example, 2018 is a prime example. He got cooked by a 6-man with the Jazz. It was Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles was giving him buckets left and right. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
How you gonna... and then last year he gets, obviously, Jade on by Damian Lillard, game winner. So it's
yeah. And then when he was with the Pacers, right? Am I saying that?
Yeah. He was with Pacers.
When he was with the Pacers, but he was super young. But I was like, this guy's really good.
He played LeBron all the way to Game 7 in the 2013 Eastern Conference Finals. If I'm 100% correct, I don't know if it was. I know he played him pretty tough. It had to be.
Those are good. Those are good defensive teams. But that goes to your point about the Clippers. They're a really good defensive team, and they're pretty deep. And Patrick Beverley was giving that dude fits. So I don't know. That's what's disappointing. We'll never know. We got to listen to guys like Bill Simmons, like doing the whole "What If" podcast.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of what ifs. Like, you know what? It's actually pretty fun speaking hypotheticals sometimes. You know, it's pretty fun doing that. But at the same time, you're like, dang it, you want to see actual results. Results. You know, it's like for example, here's a prime example. Matthew Bolin's going to beat Usain Bolt. He's going to break his 100-meter record. See, that's speaking. That's a horrible take, by the way. But that's like speaking. That's like hypothetical right there. Because like Matthew Bolin still has yet to get out of college, which he is. See, the thing is that people don't know about him is he did already break the school record in the indoor 200. He already broke the record, and he's only a freshman. And he had, and then they never got a chance to do outdoor season this year. So he really had a shot to go to the Olympics this year. I mean, I'm not because like people are going to think I'm crazy. I really thought. If it weren't the 400, then maybe the 200, he had a shot of competing for Team USA. He had a shot, but like we won't know until next year now.
Yeah, it's basically summertime sports where there's nothing going on, but for it's going to be like for it's going to be for like 4 months with no sports, unless baseball starts pretty soon. But it's just going to be like that. You know, you get those feelings during the summer where nothing's happening and everyone's like, oh, we're going to do a redraft. And like, they'll like put a redraft together. And I'm just like, I hate this. I need some like real sports. I don't like these. We're going to redo this or we're going to do these what if columns. Like no one cares about those. Well, people do, I guess, but I just hate them. It's just like whenever when people do those columns or those write-ups about what do you think? How good is this team going to be going into the fall, like college football? And you're just, what are these stories going to say? Like, oh, we're better than we were last year. You know those stories, and you're like, of course they're going to say that. What are they going to do? Like, oh yeah, we suck. I'm not looking forward to this year. It's just like all this stuff is meaningless. I want sports to be back, and hopefully we'll get them soon.
Yeah,
End of
exactly.
rant.
Exactly. I know. I'm sick and tired of just these what ifs. And then, I mean, like, think about it. The only content right now that's really trending nationally is The Last Dance, if you think about it, and NFL news. But that's about it. Yeah,
and we won't get in. No, there won't be any OTAs. There probably if we get the second wave, like you were saying, like we might not have games with fans in them. Like I think football is too big not to play. And I bet you they'll probably risk these players. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. But there probably won't be fans, and that'd be kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about it. I watch it.
It'll look like you're watching this practice, really, or a scrimmage.
Yeah, I don't. But if that's what we got to do to keep people safe, I'm not against it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, it's just gonna be like that. It's more likely these guys get paid. In college football, it's hard to make the argument like for guys that aren't getting paid to go and play football and risk their lives. Like they're still kids. So like that's what I'm worried about. But you also got to think about like what's going to happen like to these programs if there isn't college football. That's going to be bad for universities, like really bad.
They're going to lose a lot of money.
Just think about Texas State. How bad that would be.
Yeah, that's why I don't even want to go there. Honestly, man, that's like the thing. It's at this point we are so like misinformed right now. What's like it seems like this country as a whole, like the world is misinformed of how lethal this virus could be, or how I mean, look what it's done so far. I mean, it's already like you said, it's already killed a lot of people worldwide, and it's already like it's caused businesses to shut down. It's caused economic fallouts. I mean, there's just so many things that happen with this virus in a short amount of time. Like this, I mean, it first came to mind, back in late December, early February, where it was in Wuhan, and look where we are today. So it's like,
yep.
What the heck?
I've been talking about this since December, and my mom was calling me conspiracy theorist. And then I talked to her recently, and she's like, you're right. I was like, I told you. I guess I just follow news too much. Like I turned into a news junkie where I'm just following this stuff. I was like, this stuff is not going to be good. But, I mean.
It's like, dang. But I think, see, I'm not really a fan of how – I mean, I get it. I mean, yeah, I get how they're opening businesses here and there because, like, I mean, think about it. People need to survive. They need to get income in order to put food on the table. So it's like I get that, but opening all these beaches and all these parks and stuff where a lot of gatherings are just going to be all over the place, I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, but there's also a study that's saying that I think they did a study in China where – only 2 people contracted it outside. So they're saying it might be good to be outside and it might be bad to be inside. But I'm not a scientist. It's just I was reading it. We don't know. We're just dumb. We're just dumb sports guys.
Yeah, no,
this is we're just over consuming all this stuff and like some sscientists will say this, and some scientists will say the complete opposite. I'm just like, I don't know who to listen to.
Exactly, because there was an article saying that during spring break, where all those spring breakers went to Miami Beach, Palm Beach, all these beaches in Florida, and Florida's amount of cases skyrocketed. They said a lot of students, college students at Miami Beach, were, they contracted virus somehow and they passed it on to their families, and then they flew back to other states and it just caused an outbreak. So that's what one scientist said. But and then they were outside at the time. So like you said, like who are we supposed to listen to? So it's like,
I don't know and like you don't know who's paying these scientists, who's funding some of these research.
And plus, if we knew so much about it, you would think the virus would be completely gone, right? So
it might never be gone.
Yeah, this might be a part of this might be a part of every day. Obviously there's going to be a vaccine one of these days where they can slow it down, because look at the flu. People die from the flu all the time. So it's like there's going to be a vaccine for it where it's going to be just part of, be part of just normal life, everyday life, where we deal with the flu every year. So it's like
you never know. There might not even ever be a vaccine. There's not a vaccine for a lot of viruses. So who knows if they'll ever have it. We just might have to just deal with it and not let older people go outside, and they have to open up eventually. So they're just going to be like, well, if you're at this age, and they'll do all those antibody tests and whatnot. Again, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, me either. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about either. We're both just
I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to go on there, act like I know what I'm talking about, because I don't.
Yeah, me either. But yeah, man, hey, Sean, that was a lot of fun talking on this podcast, man. Like, I'm glad I was able to get you on again, but hey, this ain't the only time. Like, I mentioned that to you before, but just be ready, because I won't take a 10-month hiatus of 11 months, because last time I spoke to you on this podcast was in June. So it won't be that long of a gap.
Let's do it soon.
Yeah, exactly, because I know you like to talk sports, so do I. Let's get on here.
I got opinions, man, a lot of them. But yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and also, if you want to follow me, it's Sean ATX24, SEAN ATX24. Yeah, so that's all. You'll find all my crazy stuff that I talk about.
Yeah, you heard the man, y'all. Go ahead and give him a follow.